Hello, my name's Bev and I'm the author of the book Please Eat, A Mother's Struggle to Free Her Teenage Son from Anorexia, which describes our family's battle with the deadly eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, which my teenage son Ben developed back in 2009 when he was just 15 years old. These next two posts are from the 12th of January and the 16th of January 2012, and they talk about a bit of a glitch that we had with CAMHS at that time, which thankfully was put right by me having a meeting with the psychiatrist, really, so we could talk about where Ben was at and what was helpful to him and what wasn't helpful to him. And the first post from the 12th of January is called If You Don't Succeed at First. If you read through my blog, you will know that the main bone of contention between me and our treatment team, now comprising just the psychiatrist, is that throughout the treatment I have believed that their idea of weight normalisation and restoration is far too low for Ben. Over the past couple of years, I have constantly argued this fact, only to be shown chart after chart showing that, at his present weight, he is within the healthy weight range for his age and height. Currently, the psychiatrist is insisting that he is weight restored and constantly checks that Ben is happy with this weight. That too is a bone of contention because I don't believe you can ask a recovering anorexia sufferer to choose a weight they feel happy with. Now, I really like the psychiatrist and she has worked marvels with Ben. He is in a very different place now from where he was a couple of years ago when we first started treatment. Unlike many of the other therapists, which couldn't have made it more obvious that they were simply doing the job they'd been paid to do and switched off the moment the session was over, she has built up a great relationship with Ben and comes across as a real and genuine person who truly cares about him. Our sessions almost always run over time, and I suspect she's missed many a lunch hour because of us. But she's difficult to get hold of in private, that is, without Ben being around. Being the NHS, we're not allowed to phone her directly. We have to leave messages which don't always get passed on. We're not allowed to email either, or just drop in at the unit to see if she's around. This isn't her fault, it's been agreed by the management. However, I have managed to pin her down for a private meeting tomorrow and will be producing a photo montage of 2008, the year before the weight loss, printed out in A3 colour. To be honest, I don't know why I haven't done this before. In fact, I'm busy beating myself up about it. Is it just me, or is it obvious to everyone that sees this montage that Ben's natural build needs to be bigger than it is now? It is also pretty obvious that over the past 3 summers, 2009, 2010 and 2011, Ben's overall look hasn't altered much. He was skinny and still is. Look at his legs. That's what I always look at. Yet Ben would argue that back in 2008 he played rugby and did a stack of other sports, and that's why he looks so athletic in those photos. He would also argue that prior to 2007 and 2008 he was fat, and he still believes that's what he could easily return to if he doesn't watch the calories. I say. So I shall see what the psychiatrist has to say when I put this in front of her tomorrow morning. And the next post, from the 16th of January 2012, says, "So how did the psychiatrist's meeting go on Friday?" Well, I whipped out the huge A3 version of the photo and thrust it onto the desk in front of the psychiatrist. She could see my point. She also told me that it was obvious to her that his bone structure and build needs to carry more flesh. The long and the short of it is that yes, she does realise that Ben needs to be heavier, but first he needs to adjust to his present weight, just as in the past he's been given time to adjust to lower weights before moving onwards and upwards. Push for too rapid a weight gain and you risk things going pear-shaped, maybe even unintentionally encouraging some purging, she said. She's seen that happen quite a lot. I could see her point. But what I didn't understand was why she keeps implying to Ben that his weight is okay as it is now. Why does she have to say anything at all? I said that he believes he is now fully weight restored and that it's okay to remain at this weight forever and ever, amen. So I asked her if she would mind not doing this. It's counterproductive, and it could make things harder for us when we push for additional weight gain. The trouble is, she leaves in March on sabbatical, and we have just 4 or 5 sessions until then. So it will probably be me that has to push him a little higher. I told her that Ben respects her advice enormously, and I know the need for this extra weight would come better from her. We talked for a whole hour about weight, about the photo, about the future, about Ben's transition to university, and about formulating a relapse prevention scheme. But again, I reminded myself that we have just a handful of sessions left to do this. We will be seeing someone else whose job it is to smooth out the transition between treatment and major life changes like going to university or moving into adult services, so that's good, or at least I hope it is. Anyway, I made my point at the meeting. I kept the photograph in front of us, often interrupting her as I returned again and again to the perfect physique from 2008, and I emphasised that by implying to Ben that his present weight is weight restored, we risk settling for good enough instead of excellent. And that's the end of that post. I mentioned there the fact that CAMHS has said that we would be seeing someone else who would help Ben with the transition between CAMHS treatments and whatever he was going to do next, whether it was university or move into adult services for eating disorder recovery. As it was, you will find out this was not successful, and it ended up just being me working with Ben for the remainder of the eating disorder. But anyway, that's for another blog post. But on the whole, yes, we had a very successful meeting, the psychiatrist and me, so that was excellent news. But anyway, thank you for listening. You'll find a link below to my blog, and you'll also find a link to my website where you can download free PDFs of my blog, and also a link to Amazon where you can buy a copy of my book.